Hey everyone, today we're going to look at the best horror games on the Nintendo Switch. I'll start by saying that we quite enjoyed the original Little Nightmares, but the sequel, Little Nightmares 2, is, in our opinion, the better of the two. It's engaging from start to finish, with superb pacing, varied level design, and excellent graphics and performance. The only real flaws are the imprecision common to its subgenre and a few sections that rely more on trial and error than reactive survival. However, these issues don't detract from what is a far superior sequel and one of the best cinematic platformers we've had the pleasure of playing. A truly stylish treat. As the granddaddy of survival horror games, this series deserves a spot on this list. The Resident Evil Revelations collection includes both the original Revelations from the 3DS and Revelations 2. However, if you buy the physical version, the sequel is a download code, so keep that in mind. Both games offer excellent over-the-shoulder scares and are available separately on the eShop. Revelations 2 is perfect for co-op if you have a friend to join you. In fact, we recommend playing with someone else. It might make the experience a bit less scary. Layers of Fear Legacy is a terrifying walking simulator where you explore the house of a mad painter. The scares are psychological, with even a simple pan of the camera significantly altering the environment. You will be frightened to take each step in this artistic mind-messer. The creativity in its scares keeps you guessing about what's around every corner, and its unique set pieces will still surprise you. Despite some lackluster gameplay, the plot's descent into madness and the game's dedication to subverting your expectations for scares make this a horrific experience you won't want to miss. The original Outlast Bundle of Terror showed that indie developers can excel in survival horror. You play as freelance journalist Miles Upshur, who sets aside writing about Brexit and New Age diets to investigate a story inside a seemingly abandoned asylum. However, it might not be as deserted as it appears. If you enjoy the original, there's also Outlast 2 to consider. This sequel is set in the same universe, but follows husband and wife investigative journalists Blake and Lynn Langermann as they investigate the mysterious death of an unknown pregnant woman. Armed only with a camera, what could possibly go wrong? Both Outlast games are must-haves for those who love being scared senseless, with the first one perhaps being the best. Still, the sequel is definitely worth exploring once you've had your fill of the first game's terrors. Limbo is a brilliantly moody platform puzzler that tells a harrowing story without any words. Though its presentation is stark, the game is rich with ingenious physics puzzles and challenging platforming. Its powerful atmosphere sparks your imagination as you ponder the meaning behind it all. Plus, there's an absolutely massive spider to contend with, adding a layer of horror that firmly secures its place on this list. Dark Souls Remastered may not be strictly a horror game, but it delivers plenty of frights. This faithful remaster enhances the performance of a seminal video game while preserving the characteristics that made the original memorable. Despite its unforgiving nature and slightly fiddly menus, this slick Nintendo Switch version is the only way to experience the ultra-challenging journey through Lordran in true handheld form. With its daunting difficulty, horrific monsters, and a dark, claustrophobic setting, Dark Souls will keep you as tense as a night in a haunted house. Dare to Enter Detention, developed by Red Candle Games, is a side-scrolling game set in a Taiwanese school during the 1960s. Though not purely a horror game, it masterfully instills a sense of dread as it populates the world with ghosts and spirits, reflecting the protagonist's descent into madness. The game's eerie atmosphere and chilling soundtrack make it a brooding horror title that fits perfectly into the Switch library. Alien Isolation is a critically acclaimed survival horror game that puts players in the shoes of Amanda Ripley aboard the USCSS Nostromo. Recognized as one of the best-looking games on previous console generations, the Switch version maintains this high standard. In fact, it's reported that the image quality on the Switch surpasses that of the PS4. Having established itself as one of the scariest games of all time, Alien Isolation stands as one of the top games currently available on the Nintendo Switch. Tormented Souls is a nostalgic nod to classic horror games such as Silent Hill and Resident Evil. Set in a haunted mansion, players control Caroline as she searches for two missing girls and attempts to escape the eerie location. The game delivers a sad and disturbing story, an intense atmosphere, and a gameplay mix of puzzles, exploration, and combat. For those longing to recapture the feel of 1990s horror games, Tormented Souls offers the perfect homage. The Letter, a visual novel inspired by the films The Grudge and The Ring, follows Isabella Santos, a real estate agent tasked with selling the haunted Ermengarde mansion. The discovery of a centuries-old chain letter written in blood sets off a terrifying chain of events as Isabella and her friends are hunted by a vicious ghost. The narrative shifts perspective among 7 characters, each with detailed backstories and motivations, enhancing the depth of the story. With each choice significantly affecting the outcome, the game offers immense replayability, providing new experiences with each playthrough. The combination of a gripping mystery and well-developed characters makes The Letter a captivating experience that keeps players engaged until all the secrets of the mansion are revealed. Signalis reimagines the classic Resident Evil gameplay into a top-down perspective, placing players in a dystopian future. You take on the role of Elster, a space-traveling android stranded on a strange planet filled with dangers. The game employs classic survival horror mechanics, including resource management, third-person shooter combat, and puzzle solving. The horror elements draw heavily from Lovecraftian sci-fi, focusing on psychological scares. With multiple endings available, Signalis offers the opportunity to explore its eerie world repeatedly, each playthrough leading to a different conclusion. In 2021, the Nintendo Switch welcomed a remastered version of the 2010 horror shooter, Alan Wake. Originally developed by Remedy Entertainment, this game marked their first new intellectual property since the Max Payne series. Alan Wake features a mind-bending, episodic narrative about a struggling author, Alan, whose eerie writings begin to manifest in reality. Caught between the quaint town of Bright Falls and a nightmarish parallel world, Alan must navigate environments altered by darkness and combat shadowy foes known as the Taken. The gameplay hinges on using light sources like Alan's trusty flashlight to fend off enemies, alongside collecting manuscript pages that piece together the unfolding mystery. FNAF Security Breach revolutionizes the survival horror formula established by the original Five Nights at Freddy's games. Instead of being confined to a control room to monitor creepy animatronics through security cameras, players can now freely explore the expansive Mega Pizzaplex. The game retains its signature intense jump scares and features twisted animatronic designs that fans expect. In a significant change from previous entries, players assumed the role of a young boy named Gregory, rather than a security guard. With the help of an unlikely ally, Freddy Fazbear, Gregory must navigate and survive the nightmarish challenges of the Pizzaplex. Madison is a first-person survival horror game reminiscent of the Fatal Frame series, where players are equipped with only a camera. Using a Polaroid camera, you solve puzzles and light up dark areas. With plenty of effective jump scares, playing with the lights off adds to the chilling atmosphere. The story revolves around Luca, controlled by the titular demon, compelled to commit violent acts against his will. The game's sound design and graphics intensify the terror and immersion, making for a truly haunting experience. Darkwood, a top-down survival horror game released in 2017, places significant emphasis on defending your meager fortifications from bloodthirsty monsters. Set in Poland during the late 1980s, the game unfolds within a forest that suddenly occupies a large expanse of land, continuously expanding outward. During the day, players can explore a semi-open world, gather supplies, and interact with NPCs. However, as night falls, it becomes imperative to fortify your hideout and set traps to fend off the encroaching monsters. Darkwood eschews jump scares in favor of cultivating a pervasive sense of dread, ensuring players remain on edge throughout their harrowing journey. Dead by Daylight, developed as an asymmetric multiplayer survival horror game, has garnered a dedicated following for its uniquely tense gameplay. In each match, 4 players take on the roles of survivors, while a 5th player controls the killer. The killer's objective is to catch and sacrifice all the survivors, while the survivors strive to activate generators to unlock an escape route. The game features an expanding roster of villains, including iconic monsters from franchises like Saw, Evil Dead, and Stranger Things, adding to the variety and excitement of each match. Yamawari, Night Alone, and its sequel, Yamawari, Midnight Shadows, are 2 games that follow a young girl navigating a town after dark, evading monsters and evil spirits. In the first game, you search for your older sister and lost dog, Poro, while in the sequel, you control 2 characters, Yui and Haru, whose experiences intertwined based on their actions. Both games skillfully blend heartfelt emotion with the terror of a child pursued by nightmares, creating captivating experiences that leave a lasting impression. Deadly Premonition is undeniably a unique experience that may not appeal to everyone, but it's worth trying for its eccentricity alone. Set in a fictional town where mysterious murders have occurred, you play as an investigator tasked with solving the case. What unfolds beyond that initial premise is pure mayhem, albeit in an entertaining form. While the gameplay, involving point-and-shoot mechanics against strange monsters, may not be groundbreaking, the real charm lies in exploring the town of Greenvale and unraveling the mystery through a variety of puzzles. Carrion is dubbed a reverse horror game, where players control an unknown entity escaping from a research facility. Initially small and posing minimal threat, the entity grows in size and menace as it progresses. Players can upgrade the creature, granting it powers like possessing humans and shooting deadly tendrils, crucial for navigating and progressing through the facility. As the red monstrosity evolves, so too does its threat level, turning it into an unstoppable killing machine. Inside, the spiritual successor to Limbo, plunges players into a dark and dreary world where a lone boy navigates immense dangers while evading ruthless pursuers. The game delves into heavy themes as players help the boy maneuver through a grim and unkind environment, depicted primarily in grayscale with expertly crafted lighting and shadows. Trained dogs, unknown horrors, zombie-like figures, and oppressive societal constructs threaten the boy's path to freedom. Puzzles and platforming segments impede progress, and the game's themes weigh heavy on the heart as players realize there may be no happy ending for the nameless protagonist. Inside your favorite animation studios, the reality may not always match the whimsical facade. In the case of Joey Drew Studios from Bendy and the Ink Machine, it's a far cry from the jovial atmosphere one might expect. This game provides a first-hand glimpse into an animation studio that produces pure horror content. Players follow Henry as he becomes entangled in the zany world of Bendy, a once lovable children's character corrupted into an ink demon. Dying Light, Techland's outstanding zombie apocalypse game, may seem deceptively easy as you navigate and parkour over undead hordes during daylight hours. However, once the sun sets, the true challenge begins. More vicious infected emerge, turning every sprint between safe zones into a desperate struggle for survival. Tense from start to finish, Dying Light offers a pulse-pounding sandbox experience, backed up by years of thrilling content. Bloober Team's cyberpunk game may appear to be an homage to Ridley Scott's Blade Runner film, but beyond its surface lies a psychologically intense mystery waiting to be unraveled. In Observer, players delve into a richly constructed world, accompanied by the late Rutger Hauer's poignant performance. The game captivates players with its immersive visuals, unsettling body horror, and clever utilization of console rumble technology to jolt players awake just when they think it's safe to close their eyes. Oxenfree is a suspense-filled thriller that initially draws players in with its authentic characters. However, it doesn't take long for players to realize that something is amiss. The game quickly delves into sinister territory, making it not only enjoyable to play once, but also essential to dive back in for a second playthrough to uncover the full story. With a sequel on the horizon, now is the perfect time to immerse yourself in Night School Studios' supernatural mystery. Anthological horror has gained popularity for its ability to captivate audiences with shorter, scarier stories that don't rely on extensive lore. Stories Untold brings this anthology-style horror to the Nintendo Switch with its 4 genre-bending tales. Additionally, the game taps into the growing interest in analog horror, utilizing technology from the 80s era and its peculiarities to create a uniquely chilling aesthetic. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up, as that really helps a lot. If you think any game is missing or if you're planning to play any of these games, don't forget to leave a comment. Those were the top 25 horror games for Nintendo Switch. This has been another video from New Quest Play, and I'll be here waiting for you for the next quest.